Hello, good morning. It's good to be here. And we're saying hello to each and every person watching this program, wherever you are. It's a wonderful morning coming from our end. And we are broadcasting from our studios on Kairaba Avenue, The Gambia, West Africa. And the street is called the QCell Street. I don't know if I am right. I mean, I don't know the street number at some point. The side street, the QCell Strip, I mean. Yes. And we are at the annex of the QCell building. That's where we are. Yes, and on this program, I'm with Mr. Adi Drame as the co-host of this program. And of course, Mr. Momodou Mbodj as our newspaper review guest. You know, all Google up, getting ready to review the newspaper. I'm talking about the seats, the goggles you're wearing.
Oh, goggles.
Oh, my God.
Oh. No, he's wearing goggles.
Goggles.
Yeah. Google is the search engine.
Google.
Yes.
I know people transpose them.
Oh, you call my glasses goggles?
Yes.
Can you imagine that?
Yes.
Goggles, that's what we used to use to go and swim. That's you use it to go and swim.
Well, we call them goggles here.
No, you. No, not we.
How many
please.
people call them goggles?
The only person I know
you
is
cannot
this
single me out.
Glasses.
My good uncle, you cannot single me out.
It's only
You keep using it.
Spectacles.
It's a general term here.
No. These false generalities. To feel good, to feel that I'm right, you know, everybody uses it, so I'm okay. No, it is not.
Okay, all right.
Goggles.
Yeah, so it's good to see each and everybody, I mean, signing and looking good, fresh, getting ready to
How was
conquer.
your weekend?
I had a great weekend, alhamdulillah, very fulfilled. I did a lot of work at home. Mashallah, I spent the whole weekend at home.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so how was yours too?
Well, mine, as you know, is only Sunday. So, as usual, quiet, my usual drive around. And I'm always grateful when it doesn't rain. I'm not a farmer, so I never wish for rain because of the chaos that it causes around where we live. My street becomes a mud patch whenever it rains. So I'm always grateful and thankful when it doesn't rain. And it didn't rain either Saturday or Sunday. So that was cool. So watched a lot of football replays of matches played on Saturday. And then a couple of I seem to be obsessed with watching documentaries about dictators. So I watched one on Mao Zedong and one on Stalin over the weekend.
Oh yeah, so Mr. Mbodj, what happened?
There's no point asking me. It's just sort of the same thing every weekend. You don't have any more activities.
Well, there might be new viewers who didn't hear about your last weekend.
I mean, he said there's no point asking him. It's like his weekend is all, seamless, the same thing.
More or less. Well, on Saturday, went to a birthday party at Coco Ocean.
Oh,
Mr. Mbodj, why?
That was on Saturday.
That was Coco Ocean, right?
Oh, cool.
Nice.
And Sunday
it's
was
a lovely place.
in bed, the usual stuff. The horizontal stuff.
No party Mugbaud. Saturday, you on Coco Ocean.
Yeah, but you said yours was.
It was a birthday party.
Yes. I was doing a lot of work at home. You know, I'm trying to complete the tiling of my home. So, you know, we're doing it, although it's not yet completed.
I hope you're getting very good tilers.
Oh, yes.
Because Gambia has some of the worst tilers I've ever come across.
For me, actually, I monitor the job and, you know, when I'm not satisfied with the person. Because there was a time when they laid the tile, it was cracked. And they wanted to leave that one there. I told them, no, we have enough here. Why not you just replace that? Because I don't want to be getting into my house
and your eye will always be drawn
at that cracked tile.
Your eye will always be drawn.
It's very inconvenient, so you have to remove that and replace it. So it was good. I joined them. We did the work together. Mashallah.
Okay.
Yes. On the program, we'll be taking a look at the code. Mr. Ade said he's not going to deal with the code anyway.
I want it on record that unless we bring back the African proverbs, I will stop contributing to these quotes. So I want it on record. Okay? So tomorrow, if viewers hear me and they see me, I'm being silent, you'll know why. It's because they haven't brought back the African proverbs.
Oh, yes, just to remind.
Tens of thousands of them that we could delve into.
Absolutely.
So
we'll try to see how to balance the equation, maybe bring these African codes
again. We can mix them up.
Because they tend to create a broader, conversation when we are dealing with them. Just to remind you, it's, you know, the month, you know, to advocate for breast cancer and at the same time in support with our in support of our women. I mean, It's the Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yep.
And it's Pink October. That's why we're wearing these ribbons. I mean, trying to join in the fight against breast cancer. So it's important for you to go test it, go check yourself, examine yourself if you can. Otherwise, you go to the nearest clinic. They will help you get examined.
Yeah, and hopefully every time somebody sees the pink ribbon, it will raise the awareness, and it might make them think. We want to give people food for thought.
I can see, Mr. Ade, you are a big supporter of the, female wing. You have that band.
This band.
Yes, I mean, it represents the menstrual cycle of the lady.
That's correct.
And those 5 beads,
yes.
the red ones represent the 5 days period of menstruation.
That's right.
Well,
we attended a program.
You are a legend.
We attended a program, and they gave us this.
Yeah, so that's the red indicates. Okay, Mr. Ade,
which way do you want it? Yeah, that
this
way?
red indicates the 5 menstrual cycle.
That's right.
Yes. So the other ones are when she is not menstruating.
Yes.
I'll find one like this to support.
I might have another.
Okay.
I can let you have. Yes.
All right. So the newspaper review, Mr. Momodu Mboj will be here. Although he doesn't look, very happy today. What happened, Mr. Mboj?
He doesn't look happy. I don't understand it.
No, he started blasting me on the program at the beginning of the program.
No, it's about his goggles.
Happy or not, we are reviewing the papers together.
It's about his goggles.
Yes.
That was
that's so what upset me.
Yeah. So we'll also talk to the Gambia Fire and Rescue Service PRO, Pati Jiba. He will be here, and according to reports, they've received new fire trucks and ambulance.
According to a report on QTV News, I hope we have it. They've received fantastic donation of fire trucks and ambulances, and it was very impressive. Not just that they received the donation, I don't want to spoil it, but these people drove all the way from England with these
trucks.
Yeah. It's quite impressive, and they recorded the whole journey.
Wow, nice.
So it was lovely. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
So I mean, Njaga Ture from NEA will be here. We're talking about the National Plastic Waste Policy.
We need to have one.
Mr. Ade,
we finally
I know you love that. I know you will love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Momodu Gajaga also will be here and will be giving us some more updates on sports. It's like Gambians are not happy with our national team. What's happening?
Yeah,
the performance recently, it brought a lot of mixed feeling among Gambians, especially the young ones. When I spoke to some of them, they were like, okay, these people, they will play very well for their clubs. But when they come to home games, national duty, they don't play very well.
I don't think that's true. I mean, I don't want to spoil the conversation with the Gajaga, but if you take the last match, Gambia had 67% of the possession, and they had 27 shots on goal to their opponent's 7. They didn't score. They didn't convert. Had they scored a few of those, we wouldn't be talking about this. But they didn't. One person was claiming on Facebook, "Why are you celebrating a loss?" And I said to him, "You obviously didn't watch the match. It was a draw." But people were deflated because they felt we should have won.
It felt like a loss.
It felt like a loss. So I could understand his. We had a kind of back and forth. He said, "Why are people celebrating?" I said, "From the comments, people were not celebrating. They were actually blasting the team." So I don't know what he meant by celebrating a loss, but it wasn't a loss anyway.
All right, so let's deal with the quote. I mean, Mr. Ade, please.
So for the last time,
I'm just appealing.
I'll be reading one of these, hopefully. Yeah. Fight for it or don't cry for it.
Fight for it
or don't cry,
for it.
So I'm fighting for the African
fight
quote.
For it or don't cry for it.
I'm fighting for the African proverb to come back.
It reminds me of two similar, although different directions.
Which one?
It's reminding me of eat to live, but don't live to eat. It's reminding me of, fight for it.
Or don't cry.
Or don't cry for it.
So you have a go at this one, as you've already had one. So it reminds you of something, but this particular one, what does it evoke for you?
Well, it's telling you, I mean, you have to make sure you stand on your ground today. I mean, to make tomorrow a brighter day. I mean, if you do not walk today, tomorrow might not be bright. I mean, at the same time, you might end up losing. Crying in that context is telling you the regrets that you will be having, in the future. So it's a matter of motivating a person to keep on walking, keep on pushing. No matter what you do, make sure you do it now.
Yeah, interesting.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely. The variation on this quote is what? If you do not fight for it, do not cry for what you've lost.
For what you lost.
That's essentially.
And my take, and this comes every time there's an election, and I will hear somebody say, "Oh, I don't like the government that's in power," and I always ask them 2 questions or 3 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Are you old enough to vote? They say yes. Do you have a voter's card? If they say yes, did you vote? If they say no, I said, I don't want to hear your view, because you had an opportunity to change the result in your favor. And if you didn't, it means you're going to be happy with what everybody else decided to do.
Mm-hmm.
You've left it to everybody else. Get involved. Vote.
Otherwise, don't talk.
Vote for whom you want and against who you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can sit and talk. Otherwise, I don't want to hear you. I don't care for your views.
Exactly.
I really don't.
Exactly.
So I'm usually quite blunt with that, because I don't like people whinging, and yet they can't even be bothered to just get off their butts and go and drop their marble. What are you bitching about? What are you complaining about?
Bit. It's easier to whinge.
It's easier to whinge.
It's easier to just
or go on your keyboard and type nonsense than say, oh, today's election day, I'm going to go and vote. You don't, and then you sit and you just go back to your keyboard or your thumb on your phone, and you're sending messages on WhatsApp group complaining. I mean, there are WhatsApp groups when I posted, I said, all the people here, how many of you voted in the last election? I said, please just respond with I did or whatever. And out of a group of about 300 people, I don't think even 20 people responded. So the rest of you, I don't want to hear your views, sorry. You know, you might have very good views, but
I think
you didn't bother to vote.
You made a point. There are sometimes
so don't cry for
you
it.
can engage people, and they'll be telling you, okay, I'm not going to vote this time, or I'm not voting previous years. But those are the people that will complain about the system.
They'll complain the most.
You understand? Put your mouth where you cast your vote. I think that's very significant.
Put your money where your mouth
there
is.
There are a special set of people who doesn't belong to the voting population.
Yeah.
You know. So they have no right to complain. They have no right to say
So for me, this proverb is
absolutely
one such instance.
Fantastic. Even though I'll also concede that sometimes not going to vote could be a political statement. Abstention could be a political statement.
Abstention is fine, but don't complain about the result.
You know,
if you abstain, don't complain about the result.
You don't have any trust in the system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There are all sorts of reasons.
Yeah. Even
in the Western world, sometimes you see that very low turnout rates, just depending on the situation.
So in Nigeria, 29%. Last presidential, it's one of the, I think the second lowest. I can't even imagine what was lower than 29% turnout.
Absolutely.
And yet you hear how Nigerians are complaining and taking to the streets. How many of those people even voted?
Absolutely.
You know, that's such a low threshold.
Exactly. Guys, allow me to read a contribution of one of our viewers. I mean, here. He said, my take on your quote, embrace your inner warrior, chase your dreams with relentless determination, and witness how your efforts turn into victories. It's time to rise, conquer, and never settle for less.
So what's the cry for it? What's the link?
Exactly.
Because fight for it. I can hear the rise, all that, the fighting for it. But what's the don't cry for it bit with that?
Well, it's still more or similar thing. It's telling you, to fight for what, you want. Follow your inner, feelings, to stand on your ground.
There are two parts to the quote. The one is the fight for it bit. What you've read seems to
deviate from the...
No, not deviate, but it seems to buy into that bit.
Okay.
But what's the cry? Don't cry for it.
Oh, okay. I understand.
That's
the first part
is fine.
So you're talking about the second part.
So maybe he wants us to assume that if we do not do
these things,
we will regret sooner or later.
Exactly.
We will regret not having done
that.
Stuff like
the
that.
Q Smart Plus and the Q smartphones as available at QCell Kairaba Avenue and all QCell outlets from Katong to Koina.
And are you also encouraging management to give us all one each?
Well, if management is to give one, it's not a bad idea.
I think it's a great idea. I don't know who put that idea in my head, but I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, so the phones are good. Their batteries are very strong. And of course, we also have the QCell simple phone, which is costing $600, 72 hours battery.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the Q Smart Plus, which is costing $4,000. And it comes with 15 gig data. That's the Q Smart. And of course, the other one comes with 30 gigabyte data, 300 minutes of talk time, and 300 SMS as well. So you can buy the Q Smart for 3,400, and of course the other one is 4,000. Then the simple phone is $600. It's available from all the QCell outlets across the country. Luñ doon wax mooy jëndaleen phone si QCell yi si réew mi phone yaa ngi nii baax na képp ko nga xam ne soxla nga téléphone yomba na baax na di Q Smart Plus ak Q Smart smartphone bi baax na ba pare am nañ simple phone yéen mi nga xam ne business bugg leen seen téléphone fay ñu ne leen simple phone bi baax na kon Mr. Ade, we proceed.
We proceed indeed.
And how shall we proceed in Cape Verde?
Portuguese.
In Portuguese. We should invite Francisco Afonso to come on the show.
And we
can
take
fit.
a look
So
at
on the newspapers? Yes. I only
what
have.
is Talib saying about President Barrow?
Yes.
He said he should step down.
After 10 years.
After 10 years. So President Barrow, here Talib Bensouda is telling you to step down after 10 years. I don't know what will be, ruling in President Barrow's mind at the moment.
But he hears this every week from one person or another.
But it's expected for an opposition member to, say such kind of words to a ruling party.
Yeah,
it's a normal thing.
It's the kind of thing that
people
say in opposition, and then when they become in government, they probably won't abide by it.
The only time oppositions were not brave enough to say this was from 1994 to
we know, and we know why.
Yes,
obviously because of the risk, the high risk. Sometimes you might even lose your life there.
Yeah,
so
quite.
It was more prudent
to be quiet.
To be quiet and watch your tongue.
But yes, he is, free to express that view. And as you rightly say, when you're in opposition, it's the kind of statement that you could make. He's also quoted in a different context in the Standard. Mayor Bensouda says Gambian economy in deep risk with Barrow out of touch. Interesting one, top right corner there of the newspaper. I hear all these people. I have to be honest, I don't hear any of them come up with solutions on how we fix the economy. Not a single one. And I challenge even him, actually. Maybe we should have him on here to say how he's going to fix it. Because I think these things are easy to make from the sidelines and make noise from the sidelines. But I'd love to know. Our economy is handcuffed by so many things. We import a lot of stuff, export very little. A lot of the stuff that we do grow here, we don't even export them in a kind of finished, packaged version. So the economy is limited. Tourism, still 20-25%, whatever, to the GDP. We're still very dependent on that. So I don't see how you can change that dynamic and suddenly make the economy start bringing in hundreds of millions and billions. And in fact, remittances from Gambians abroad probably bring more than almost all our trade, which is unbelievable, but a fact. That's the reality. So I don't know what he would change about that.
That's really what the issue is. We are hobbled by so much.
Yeah.
Really, we are told that the sort of inflation, that's really what our issue is right now. Cost of living, it's really very difficult for people. Most of it imported.
Yeah.
So how much space do you have?
Yeah.
Well, the monetary policy of the central bank
Yeah,
can twitch around
Go
with that. But the effect, the impact it has is never really that much. Maybe when a country is going through such difficult, trying circumstances, they tell you to be fiscally more disciplined.
Yes,
Fiscal discipline, reduce your spending, as it were, and see what you can do. But you'll be hard put, you know.
Because I saw this headline
change
before we
things.
came down, and so I just went along the West African coast. I looked at all the countries. Every single country is having the same complaint
Exactly.
about the economy. So it's not unique to the Gambia. I don't know why he thinks it is. But yeah.
Well, sometimes it's easy to say these things and easy to assume if I am going to change this. But, you know, surprisingly, you know, for us, the voters now.
But it will be interesting to know what
Yeah,
this
what does it
Barrow
mean?
out of touch.
Yes, out of touch.
What
with-
has Barrow said we sort of show, or
Yeah.
said or done,
Yeah.
to show that he's
That
out,
he's
of
out of touch. Yes.
That will be interesting.
Yes, yes.
Well, at some point, I think voters are now becoming aware, and they are becoming wise. You know, for the past elections, if you ask me, why did you vote? I voted because I believe that individual, it's the person that can make changes, because I listened to some of their manifesto and I was like, okay, I am going to vote for this individual based on the manifesto, but now I'm going to scrutinize the individual. I'm going to ask questions. How are you going to do this? If you tell me I'm going to build roads, I'm going to bring pipe-borne water, I'm going to ask you, how are you going to do it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of informed voter, which is the ideal in a democracy, but I'm not sure we have it here to a large extent, because we still have the instance where you go somewhere and you'll hear the chief or the alcalde say, all my people are going to vote for you. That's ridiculous, but it still happens. You know, so I'm not sure how much interest there is in people looking at manifestos and scrutinizing them, especially when they're all in English, and most of the majority of the population don't read English. So
That's it. And that so-called ideal voter who would go through all the
They don't exist
manifestos,
anywhere.
you know what I mean?
Because
And
some of them are that thick.
Applying his critical faculties and then assessing everything, and at the end of it, will take the most rational decision. It's a fantasy.
and that's why politicians simplify
It's a
things.
fantasy.
So even in a country like America, where you know, people read a lot more than they do here, you know, somebody like Trump would simplify it down to "Make America Great Again." You know, just a catchphrase.
Absolutely.
You know, that he can wrap all sorts of things around. Nobody's going to scrutinize rather his 800-page manifesto. Even the most passionate voter on his side hasn't read beyond the first 2 pages. You know, so people around the world, politicians, they simplify things, and they give you kind of bite-sized chunks of words that I will do this, I will do that. And then, you know, people vote for them. Look at the trouble that Jomai Faye and others are having in Senegal now, because people are now saying to them, what about all the promises you made about things you would do within the first 100 days? You haven't done any of them. So, you know.
And the people vote for all sorts of reasons. There are certain families in Britain, for instance, they're Labour, they will never vote
They never-
Conservative.
yeah, quite.
There are certain families, Conservative, they will never vote Labour. Never mind what the manifestos say.
Quite.
Over here as well, we have certain alliances.
Yes.
I can never vote for this person or this party because of whatever normative alliances we have or other.
and
it could be my ethnic group.
Well, this is it.
These are the facts.
And
this
he's
is how
nailed it
people
because-
think. This is how people think, whether we like it or not.
You know, Mboja's nailed it, because I have cousins, for example, who have said to me they will only ever vote APC, or People's Congress, which is the party that my father once belonged to. But that party is no longer there. It's there in name only. It is so different to the party that my father served that they're like chalk and cheese, you know. So I would never consider voting for them now. But people say, oh, you're APC. I'm like, pardon? Oh, because your father was APC. I said, oh, supposing my father was a mass murderer. Does that make me want to be a mass
It's
murderer?
just like,
No.
it's just like
No.
our then PPP. I mean, we still have PPP as a party, and it's active. It's active. It's still running, but unfortunately, even during elections, you cannot even know whether they are part of the people that are going to be voted for.
How many times in office people will ask me for my party,
Yeah.
expecting either NPP, UDP, and all the like. I just go and say I'm PPP.
You know,
we are defunct,
Yeah, quite.
granted,
Yeah, quite.
but I'm still.
Well, this is it.
You are loyal.
Yeah.
Loyal.
So,
loyal.
yeah.
So let's move
Sure,
on.
we go to-
loyal to the graveyard.
Yeah,
Imagine
absolutely.
that.
You know.
Halifa
So-
Sallah
Yes.
dwells on system change.
I don't think he was dwelling on it.
Yeah,
He was expounding on it. In fact, he says there should be a system change
System change.
in the kind of politics, in the body politic of the country. He says things need to change, and as part of this, he's going to go on a nationwide tour.
Oh yes.
To get the views of the population, people in the rural areas, and get beyond the kind of sitting in a conference hall and just talking to people at a seminar or a workshop. But one would have expected Doi to have done this before, but never, better late than never, I guess. But they're going to do it now, and they're going to get the views. And once they do that, I'm not sure what, because people make their complaints known anyway. They will complain to their National Assembly member, they will complain to their councillor, and sometimes if they don't like what you're doing on their behalf, they can vote you out. We've seen it. So it will be interesting to know.
But guys, I mean,
once he's done this, what happens?
Let's be realistic. I mean, system change. I don't know if at some point journalists were able to ask Halifa Sallah, Honorable Halifa Sallah, what does he mean by the word system change? It keeps drumming in our minds. I mean, system change. We've been talking about it, fine, and we understand it's to change the system, the way we're moving as a country.
What is the system?
Well, this is it. It depends on what you consider the system.
The system, absolutely.
I am
That's what I'm
surprised that
talking
as a Gambian you're asking this. This is the country that had a dictator/authoritarian figure for 22 years. And you got rid of him. Is that a system change? We no longer have an authoritarian regime. That itself is a system change.
But there was a time, it was mentioned, there is regime change, but there is no system change.
Yeah, I mean, because we still
was
vote
mentioned.
the same way.
Was
we
mentioned.
still vote the same
So
way.
I
We
want
still
to know,
campaign.
how are we going to change the system?
So this is the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
It seems as if we have to go back to definitions.
Yeah, quite.
What do we really mean by that?
And is it semantics
I
or
said,
something
yeah.
real?
And when they
that
say
can-
system change, so from what to what?
Yeah.
Whatever is existing right now, is it a system? Can we call it a system?
And this is a party, by the way, which has the word socialism in its name. And myself and one of my colleagues were discussing this at the weekend on Saturday. And I said to him, here's a map of the world. Put a pin on a single properly functioning socialist party. He started pointing out dictatorships. I said, no, socialism doesn't necessarily mean a dictatorship. It's become a kind of shorthand for that. But it's in the real sense of it, it's not.
Well,
Then there isn't one.
you know,
Absolutely.
after-
Our dictator didn't call himself a socialist.
yes, after engaging, few people, I mean, the people, I was like, okay, fine. Now, there will be a time where Gambians, some of them will tell you Halifa Sallah is the best man for this country. But Halifa Sallah will never win at some point. Yeah, I mean, you've never, won any election here, except the National Assembly elections. So, some will tell you, okay, the reason is Halifa's system and the system of Gambia is totally different. Some people, okay, fine, nothing belongs to you. It's a socialism. I mean, that's what they believe in. So it's like many people don't understand what exactly
The kind of collective ownership of everything.
he is trying
Yes,
to put.
but I think Khalifa, whatever species of socialism we're going to get, they'll accept private ownership.
Yeah.
all socialist states really in the world
Yes,
now,
this-
they accept some degree of
yeah,
private
yeah.
ownership,
Yeah.
if it done even then. I think that-
rather
that-
than everything being in public hands,
Public
or
hands.
everything, so there'd be no private companies running GSM or so on. They'll all be government owned, government control, and so on. That would be the real. But where is that going to happen? It's not going to happen in the Gambia.
But I think sort of trying to follow the spirit, if not the letter, of what Halifa is saying. I think we recognize what he meant by the system of patronage that government,
Yeah, that's right.
how we run government, isn't it?
Yeah, go ahead.
The institutions not working.
Yeah, go ahead.
People are stealing all the time. We've heard it, especially during these commissions,
Yeah.
the local government commission, and then from the reports of the committees of the National Assembly.
Yeah.
So we've got a pretty good picture of how institutions, public institutions are being run here, financial mismanagement. Perhaps we know what he means by the system.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get a position in government, not because of merit, I'm competent, because I've got the right connections.
I've got the right party
You've got
card,
the
for
right
example.
party card, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think we can recognize it very well. And these are really the symptoms of bad governance. I think we can recognize what he's trying to do, but our question is, oh my God, Mr. Salah, how are you going to do that?
And
You're facing a whole country. Most of us believe that
Yes.
when we go to government, we enrich ourselves.
Well, in
That's
fact-
how ordinary people think.
the very point I was going to make, and one of our colleagues is here, and if he's watching and he's upstairs, I actually want him to come and join us, because he was trying to defend that, because he made the statement that he doesn't see how somebody who is president will leave the presidency and not be richer than when he went.
Absolutely.
At
Imagine
first I
that.
thought he was saying it as a joke,
That's it.
but then I realized he was being serious, and I said, what? I said, you're not saying they've gone into business. They've gone into the
The
presidency.
presidency to make wealth.
And to make wealth, and he thought that was the
We
most
all
natural
believe
thing
in
that
it.
he
Well,
could say.
I mean,
That's what we
That's-
all believe in.
that's-
It's
that is
unbelievable.
shocking.
I'll tell you
That is
something. You
shocking.
see, that notion we have,
That's
okay, when we
unbelievable.
assume power or office, you know, we are there to enrich ourselves instead of working, I mean,
In
to
the
serve
interest of-
Service, the spirit of
people.
public
So
service.
that's the problem we have. I think that's the system change.
Exactly.
Yeah. The thing
That's
is,
where the system
if you're
change
clever,
comes.
what you do is when you leave government, because if you've established a good reputation and so on, you probably then can use the fact that I was the president, I was the prime minister, and you earn more. The amount of money Tony Blair is earning now, he
Absolutely.
could never earn when he was prime minister.
And
Of
Clinton
Great
and
Britain.
Barack
Clinton
Obama.
and Barack.
Post-presidency.
That's fair enough.
After they became the
Well,
president, you know,
Well,
not when they were there.
Nobody is saying after presidency or after a high position, you
Yeah.
should leave poor.
Yeah, quite.
I mean, you've been
But
working, you've
but-
been serving the people as well. It will be fair enough for you to have your share of the cake as well, but not to
Share
that
of what
extreme.
cake?
No.
I
What
hate
I'm
metaphors
saying is
like
get
that.
rich after you leave. Not saying by the
During
time
it.
I leave, I'm richer than when I became president. That's scandalous. That is shocking. But that's what we think politics is about: get in there and get rich. I was
Get rich or die trying.
I was shocked.
Well,
I was shocked.
guys, Mr.
You know.
Boj, I think we've already exhausted the time.
Oh, so we haven't
the
got time for me
Gambia,
to. We
Fire
haven't
and
got
Rescue
time
Service
Honestly.
PRO is
to
already
blast the tourism board's
with us.
MD.
Yes,
Again.
don't worry. We will deal with this, Mr. We'll
Mr.
deal with it
Kamaras.
tomorrow.
Yes.
You know,
Inshallah.
he's talking about airport fees here.
Yes.
Congestion at the airport due to airport fees. But we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Yes, so we'll take a short break. After the break, we'll engage the public relation officer of the Gambia Fire and Rescue Service, Pate Jiba. We'll talk about the new fleet of trucks and ambulance donated to the Gambia Fire and Rescue Service. So on that note, we'll be right back.
Introducing the all-new Q Mobile. Rediscover the essence of mobile communication with a device that brings you back to basics: quality, simplicity, and reliability. The Q Mobile is designed to fit seamlessly into your life, offering essential features without the fuss. 72-hour battery life, keeping you connected longer. Listen to news, prayers, or your favorite shows with the FM radio on Q Phone. A built-in torchlight, always ready when you need it, memory card slot for expandable storage, and dual SIM capability for flexibility and convenience. Why wait? Step into any of our care centers today and get your hands on the most affordable phone for just $600. Plus, enjoy a bonus package of 300 minutes talk time and 300 SMS spread over 3 months. Absolutely free. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Atanong, oro mobile amen keso pura andere Q mobile. Mobile no yade jamano. Tenon kadi no webi na fitora golmo. Tenon mojogi piji bui. Battery on ko balde tati. FM radio. Lampu. Memory card storage. Ko SIM card ɗiɗi o ƴettata ɓura andirede dual sim dogu joni yaha ka customer care center ji amen soda oɗon mobile temeɗɗe jeego rek te a heɓay temed tati minitaji ɗi anduɗa a wowlay te non a heɓay kadi ko ɓura andirede temed tati sms te a yoɓata hay hunde ɓe sendanama ɗum e nder lebbi tati si tawiɗa faala hen ko laaɓi noddu qcell customer care e 111 qcell suñu bos minen udditi laawol ngol si woɓɓe jokki ɗum. We are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Asuri Balde. Now let's move to the third segment of this program. That's the Gambia Fire and Rescue Service. It's important for us to talk about the fire and rescue services. I mean, they've been performing very well, and we understand sometimes when you are constrained with manpower, it's difficult for you to carry your job effectively. Sure. And here they are donated with fire trucks and ambulance to make their work very easy, Mr. Ade.
To make it easier, I mean, we can see on screen these, and they're in very good condition. They came all the way from the UK, and we saw them. My colleagues who went there were quite impressed with what they saw, and as you said, these are the things that will make their work easier. There are certain things I would like to pick up on as we go along on the program, but welcome to the program. PRO Patek Giba.
Thank you so much for having me today, this morning.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you here, Mr. Jiba. Can you take us through what have you been up to, the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services? I mean, what is the latest at your end?
Or shall we start with this donation, for example, as the amount of equipment that was donated, and then you can take it on from there.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Thanks so much for having me here this morning. Actually to talk about the latest development that has transpired in my institution over the few weeks. Honestly, we are altogether happy that our efficiency has been boosted again, taking into cognition that we used to have a problem with fleets. And because these fleets are also doing an everyday service for the people, you expect to change them from time to time.
Sure.
Sometimes we overrun them because the demand is probably higher than the supply.
Sure.
And fortunately, we got this kind of help from our friends. These are two charities that put their house together to support us. One of them is EMCCF, and the other one is ESAC. EMCCF is a home-based registered charity, Gambians who are born here, and then they decided to find out what they can do to support life.
Is that Ibu Mala?
Ibu Mala Children Charitable Foundation. And the other one is Emergency Service Aid, which is not a Gambian charity, it is a UK-based charity. And within the period, they were from 2020 rather, they've been putting up resources together to make sure actually the journey is successful. Sure. And happily and luckily, they were able to have all these things put together and then send them to the Gambia by land.
And if I can just say for the viewers, whilst you were talking, we showed the group of people. Those were the people who actually came all the way. So quite a number of them came all the way, including the ones who were holding up the flag, the Gambian flag, the father and son. They were among the volunteers who brought that equipment to the Gambia.
So they didn't come by sea?
No, they drove.
The vehicles were driven.
Okay.
From Europe, from England to to the Gambia,
Yeah.
and it took them some time, like a week or more.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
a week or more to reach the
get here.
Gambia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the distribution of these fire trucks. I mean, which fire stations do you think need trucks, and how are you going to do the distribution?
We've already distributed them.
Oh, they are already
Yeah,
distributed.
they've already been
Yeah.
distributed.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay.
we've distributed them. We send them to stations that need them at the moment.
Okay.
One of them is presently in Mankamankunda.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
because
hope you are not taking it because of President Barrow.
He was about to tell you
No,
why.
let's, Mr. Jiba, let's be honest.
He
Do
was
you
about
think
to tell
Mankamankunda needs it?
yeah, the thing there is the vehicle is not intended to Mankamankunda, but it is for Bansan Fire Station.
Okay.
But because Bansan Fire Station personnel cover that place because the president is there as we speak, so he needs to be protected. When it has something to do with fire cover and stuff like that, we must have to send some personnel and then a very strong and good vehicle to cover up the situation there. But when he returns back to base, state headquarters, Naga State House, the vehicle is going back to Bansan.
To Bansan.
Yes.
Okay. Now I got it. Now I got it.
So, by the way, have we said how many trucks and ambulances we got? I don't think we covered that, just for the viewers.
Yeah,
because
we-
we carried in the news story.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how many?
They're supposed to be 12 ambulances. 2 are intended for us,
Right.
and the 10 ambulances are for the Ministry of Health.
Right.
You can see the array of medical ambulances are for the Ministry of Health. The emergency ambulances that are the big ambulances, yellow in color.
Yes.
2 of them are for the fire service.
I was
So-
trying to work out whether they'd converted the steering from right to left.
No,
They're not.
no, that is not done. You know.
Okay, right. Okay.
You know, when you do that, you may easily damage them because we have seen a lot of vehicles when you change
They
the thing from
convert.
this side to that side, you know, it can easily get damaged.
Okay.
But because these vehicles are not vehicles that we use for partying, they are necessarily for emergency response.
Of course.
So the law at least gives us that leverage, you know, to use
To
them
use
in
them
this
still
way.
with right
You
hand,
know,
yeah.
that is it.
Okay.
Exactly. So, right now, Mr. Jiba, if we are to enhance the Gambia Fire Rescue Service more, what other things do you think will help?
Yeah, I used to say time without number that having fire engines to do our firefighting stuff is a successful thing, and we definitely need it. But we definitely want to be into more of proactive firemanship than reactive firemanship. So the dimensions are changing, and these are the new dynamics. Whatever we should be doing, we should have more of letting people, giving people the awareness, you know, encouraging them to stay away from problems than allowing them to get into trouble and then we react to their troubles. Sometimes the job is not even done. Before we are called is a problem. When we are called before we reach is a problem. So it's easier for me sitting down here, or we deploy our men into towns and villages. They talk to people about current issues and how to avoid some of these problems. Like everyone is listening. And those that are keen, they may be able to gather 1 or 2 very important things that would save them probably for a lifetime. You know, and comparing that to having vehicles, yeah, is good, because not everyone listens to what people say.
Exactly.
And even if they listen, sometimes these are accidentally seen. We see people going into things that they never imagined. And these are people that are very careful in their houses, you know.
Sure.
So the firefighting aspect is also important, but most important is the proactive fire.
So in the proactive one, does that include things like, because every time we cover a fire, since I've been here, I think 8 out of 10 people will say it's an electrical fire. How do we appeal to the public to say, if you're going to get any electrical work done, make sure it is of good quality, because you're not saving anything by going cheap.
Yes, indeed.
If a house burns down, you haven't saved anything. So how do we make, because we see it so frequently that we're getting fed up of it.
Yeah, in fact, as we speak, we are going into the issue of design. In fact, we've already have drafts of this. We're working with DCAV.
Okay.
Just to let you know the background, we're working with DCAV to support the fire service in the building of some regulations.
Right.
And an institution that is into saving lives and protecting property from destruction should have some regulations.
Yeah, sure.
Because you wouldn't be able to regulate things or control things if there is no regulatory mechanism. So currently we are working on 2 regulatory documents. One is building regulation, and that has something to do with this we are talking about here. And we will have the mandate and the audacity to advise, to counsel, and probably to tell you this ought not to.
Yeah,
because when things go sour, it is us that are called upon.
Absolutely.
So we have a stake in it to actually advise, people as to, by the law, to advise people what to do and what not to do.
Sure.
When it comes to areas that, refers to us. And also not only the building regulation, but also something like LPG. LPG is the gases we use in our house, liquefied, So we have seen that also causing a lot of problems in this country.
Right.
If you look at the percentages of fires that occur here, we have almost 60-something% caused by electricity. And then, below that is gases. So it goes on and on and on. I actually cannot tell you exactly the data because these are figures, but I would tell you that electricity constitutes the highest, followed by gases and other things. And if we regulate this area, we are not poor actually. We don't regulate how it is imported here and there, but what we regulate is the cautionary part of it. We need to have the power to condition or caution people as to how to install these stuffs in their houses, how to use them, and a lot of things. Failure to do that, then we can, take it to the next level, because your safety is our safety, and our safety is the overall safety of the entire community.
Exactly.
So we cannot allow you to go into something that will get the entire street or Kabilu burned down for just your own thing without this thing. So these are some of the developments that are taking place. So that's why I am putting to you that having proactive behaviors to us is by far better than reacting. And we cannot proact if we are not having some regulatory framework that could tell us our limits and then what to tell you without going against the law.
True.
Okay.
Yeah, so finally, let's talk about the water points, Mr. Jiba.
The hydrants?
The hydrants, yeah. So, I mean, some of them you don't even know they are there. And what are we doing so that we can have more of them scattered everywhere in case of emergency?
Yeah, that's true. Actually, hydrants are a property belonging to NAWEC, right? Okay, but we are the users and you are the beneficiaries. I don't know whether my language will be understood. When I say it belongs to them, NAWEC, meaning they procure this, they look at the specifications by consulting us, and then we use them, and then the victims becomes the beneficiaries. So I know there is no effective fire department without sufficient supply of water. And we understand this is a problem at the moment, but you've been asking this question over and over, and I know you'll continue to ask this question so long you are not seeing hydrants everywhere around. Yeah, the plans are already there, and we've put it to them. This is what we need, because we know where actually we need these hydrants, and NAWEC is working very closely with us to make sure that even the ones that were installed that do not match with our fittings, we're trying to revisit and look at it technically, so that all of us together we can save lives.
True.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, so we have exhausted this time.
So the next time you come, PRO, we will discuss a couple of things that I wanted to discuss.
Exactly.
Attacks on fire officials when they go to put out a fire, which I find extraordinary, and we've seen several instances where they've been stoned. And secondly, a couple of occasions we interviewed fire officials, and they've talked about the fact that they found it hard to find the place because this is my boring thing. We don't have street names and we don't have addresses. But we can deal with that at a later date because we've run out of time.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank
you so much for having me once again.
Thank you for
I
always
just have
being
to
willing
say
to
one
do.
thing. That is, let's see our country as ours. There is no place to fall back to when we destroy here. And then just to make a summary, bullying firefighters is not the solution to our problem. And what I feel is we should all put our hands on the same deck, because there is no country, the last time I checked, called the Gambia other than this. So, and its people are called the Gambians. So when we destroy it, we destroying it for ourselves. So the bullying, the destruction of the vehicles, the vandalism make no sense to us. We are only doing more harm to us than good. So I appeal to everybody to see firefighters as their lifesavers.
Thank you.
Absolutely,
for that.
yeah.
Thank you.
So that's the PRO of the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services. You know, PRO Jiba, Party Jiba. So viewers will take a short break. After the break, then the program is going to continue. We'll be talking to the NEA on the National Plastic Waste Policy. We'll be right back.
Felenting a Q-Smart and in Q-Smart Plus na falie hade natal seniaringol set aka wallata akata bake yenyin soto kat ko mobile tariyarim ba andum foka pare ala batterio beta ala wati jande aka ji Q-Smart ya 5.9 immersive display la soto nyindu mu dalasi wuli sabanin kemenani da malati ni mobile o nyin sang iba bondulo soto la min tata for 15 GB andung kemeni muang free talk time fanam betara yele warning keme saba SMS o foka pare nyimbe mu free lati ni mobile o nyin sang walante fana ni lafta Q-Smart Plus la wo fanam bijele ice screen warman bala soto minketa 6.5 inches de anin dalasi wuli nani damma isa nyi mobile o soto no andu foka pare afana nim bundle package ole nata iba 30 GB data soto la yekeme saba SMS o soto ani yekeme ni muang talk time soto nyimbe dung hani feng ita jola kana tu koma ila Q-Smart ni ila Q-Smart Plus soto B kabo Q-Cell la isa nyi mobile o soto no B na customer care build o mimba nyi banko kan momo lafta kuma koyo mo ila nyinto isa na customer care bunjulola ni 111 Q-Cell sunyu boss dole silo walang dole abulan noma nyindung ani sartole nata
It's happy time. Get 50% off all calls to any network. Enjoy calls every day to any network from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Is it too good to be true?
We are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Asuri Balde. Now let's move to the second to last segment of this program. And we have Njaga Ture, Deputy Executive Director, NEA, and we're talking about the National Action Plan.
And what is NEA?
The National Environment Agency.
Thank you.
And we'll be dealing with the National Action Plan to tackle plastic pollution. Yeah, so it's good to have you here, Deputy DJ.
Thank you so much. Good to be here, and thank you to QTV and the team for allowing us to share our views about the recently launched National Action Plan to tackle plastic pollution in the Gambia.
Well, I can remember before we come on the show, Mr. Ade was so excited to have you here. We talk about pollution, we talk about plastic waste, we talk about, you know, how to tackle all these things all the time on this program. And Mr. Ade, I think this is an opportunity.
Very much an opportunity because as long ago as 2015, we had the ban on plastic, you know, bags and so on. But with this new action plan, the thing we all want to know is how will it be implemented and enforced? Because it's all right having something on paper, but a lot of the stuff, a lot of our laws, they're just gathering dust. When it comes to the implementation, when it comes to the monitoring of them, they're very lax, and so people just get away with stuff. So how do we know that this is not just another fancy plan that won't be implemented or monitored?
Okay, thank you so much. Once again, on behalf of the Executive Director of the National Environment Agency, I'm here to talk about the recently launched National Action Plan to tackle plastic pollution. And as you rightly mentioned, the 2015 ban was a law. We call it the plastic ban back order.
That's right.
Exactly. So this one is not a law. It's an action plan.
Yeah.
And if you can understand, that law 2015 was so specific to only plastic bags.
Yes, disposable.
Exactly.
plastic
At
bags.
that time, the Gambia was so overwhelmed with the problem of those carrier bags and also the non-water sachet.
Yes.
So those were the issues that actually led to that ban.
Yes.
So I can say to some extent, I think there is some success, considering that now you cannot see all those non-sachets anymore, and also those black bags where you used to have the calendars. You cannot see them anymore.
They're getting less and less.
Yeah, so I think to some extent there is some success. Over the years, there has been some emergence of other types of plastic bags, okay, and also the water bottles, the small water cups and stuff like that. Yeah. So this action plan is hinged on that context.
Right.
Not only plastic bag, but plastic in general.
Sure.
When you say plastic, it includes bottles, it includes plates, plastic plates, everything
Knives
that is
and
plastic.
forks
Exactly.
and
So the action plan is going to look into that comprehensively, how we can systematically phase down plastic waste generation over the next 10 years. So if you look at the action plan, there are different policies and also different strategies that are highlighted that will work in with different stakeholders on how to roll them out from now against 2033.
That's right. So as you rightly said, the 2015 was a law.
Yes.
This action plan addresses things like recycling.
Exactly.
So can you tell us some of what that is going to entail in terms of encouraging recycling?
Well, first, the action plan has highlighted 5 different strategies, and one of them particularly is talking about waste management in general. Yeah. Because you cannot talk about waste. When you don't talk about plastic. And what the action plan has shown us is that over the years, like in 2021, when the survey was conducted, Gambia generated about 22,800 tons of plastic waste. And out of that,
in a year,
in 2021 alone 22,800 tons.
Yeah.
This is equivalent to about 23 cargo ship.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a very huge amount.
Oh, that's right.
And out of that, only 17,200 went into the proper waste management system.
Right.
It means more than 75% leaked into the terrestrial and aquatic environment. And only less than 24% is managed. So this is a very significant figure, and we saw this as an important opportunity, considering the opportunity of circular economy, that these things could be recycled and be used to produce some very useful items like benches, cooking pots, washing basins, stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. So what this is going to do now is to implement some phase-out bans, on certain products, including water bottles, the new emerging water cups with the lids. Exactly. And also on-the-go food and drink packaging items like the Cafe Tuba the Cafe Tuba cups. And if you go to the big areas, you see that everywhere is littered with some food packaging items which definitely could be avoided. So this ban is really going to look into how to strengthen and work with the private sector and the industry, how to come up with some sustainable solutions on how these plastics could be collected, recycled into some products. We've already partnered with some organizations like the Precious Plastic Gambia, who are now collecting these plastic items, convert them into very useful products like benches. If you go to our office now, you see a very beautiful bench which is made of pure plastic. And we're seeing how to promote and also empower some of these young people on how they can improve on the work that they are doing.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask what was, big industries, how do they play into this, the bigger industries, the big producers as well?
This is a big opportunity for them. I could remember way down in 2015 when the ban on plastic bag was done. Some people started coming to NA, hey, you guys banned this, so what are you bringing for us? I said, what? You guys are supposed to come with solutions in the industry. You see it as an opportunity, and I said, okay, the government have banned this, then it means I can come with something to fill in that gap, because it has happened in many parts of the world. And the government is just there there to create the enabling environment
Yeah, of
so
course.
that businesses can come and see the opportunity and then come up with some alternative solutions.
Sure.
And then we are ready to partner with them. As I said, the Common Sea, it was government partnership
Yeah, sure.
who provided them with some recycling equipment
Okay.
that were bought from Holland, and we gave it to them, and they are using it. They are producing some very good and beautiful items.
So with the action plan, you mentioned that there are 5. You mentioned waste management.
yes.
What are the other 4 components of it?
Yeah, I mean, the first strategy is to strengthen the existing ban
Okay.
on plastic.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
the existing ban to strengthen it, because as I said, it only covered one aspect of plastic,
yeah,
that is
correct.
plastic ban.
Mhm.
Now we are looking at plastic in totality.
Sure.
Okay, including the plastic cups, the water bottles, beverage and non-beverage bottles.
Right.
You know, you name them.
Mhm.
So that's basically what the ban is talking about. The first strategy is talking about, and
Strengthening
also
that
how
ban.
to come up with some alternative, materials that can replace plastic materials. You know,
Okay.
Absolutely,
paper
because-
bags and stuff like
Yes,
that.
because at some point,
Yeah.
if you are to eradicate this one, you need to come up with something.
Yes.
I mean, I can remember it was very difficult for especially businessmen or shop owners to replace the sugar
Yeah.
plastic bag.
Exactly,
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
but now we even forgot about. We used to, have this bag.
I still
Yeah.
see them,
Yeah.
but anyway. But so that's the first
That's
one.
the first strategy.
And-
Yeah.
and the
now,
second?
the second strategy is tackle other plastic bags, including water bags.
Okay, right.
That's the
okay.
second strategy.
That's
yeah.
the second. yes.
Exactly. So that one is talking about like some of the single-use,
Yes,
some of the single-use plastic items that we use. If you go to the market, the way they package some
Yeah,
of
yeah.
these, products like the vinegar and so many other liquid items
yeah,
that are
of course.
packaged in some
In
of those
single,
plastics.
yeah.
Yes. And it's going to introduce a ban on those small single-use plastic packaging items.
And the third one?
So the third one is tackle single-use plastic bottles.
Okay.
This includes water bottles,
Yeah.
as
Okay.
I said, the beverage and non-beverage bottles. So this is a big problem right now if you look at it here. And what the strategy is going to look into is how to minimize the use of these bottles. First, by trying to build public confidence on the use of public water. So the National Action Plan have a strategy to install public water fountains.
Okay.
Public water fountain in high footfall areas
Okay.
where people can just grab their water bottles,
Yes.
and then
And you go and
if it is
fill it.
empty, you can just go and
And fill it.
refill it and then drink. It means if you go to many places, you can just refill your bottle.
I
and things
hope
stuff like that.
hope that would be safe, Mr. Toure.
Well, there's a country where they have that, but I won't mention it. But carry on. What's the number 4?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so
There's one
well,
country.
that is why we will also build
No,
partnership with NAWEC.
Yes.
Yeah.
First to improve on the water supply, water safety
Okay.
and quality management, to build public confidence,
I
so
think
that
so.
people can have the confidence
Yeah.
to go and refill their bottles in those places and drink
And
them.
after after a while, people come to accept that
Yeah.
it's for the public good. It's for
Exactly.
everybody's good. So if you damage it, you're the one who's going to lose out. So I think
Exactly.
eventually people come to
Yeah,
accept.
and also to study
something
with our
like
own
that.
institutions also in public places, government offices, you have public water fountains where you don't have to buy water bottles. People can just go to the fountains, refill their bottles, drink.
And drink.
So we start from government itself
Yeah.
and roll it out to the public.
Good, good.
Yeah, yeah.
And so what else?
So the fourth strategy is to tackle on-the-go food and drink packaging items.
Which you mentioned.
Yeah, so I mean, this is one of the biggest problems right now, particularly the coffee sellers, so moving on the go,
Yeah.
moving from one place to the other,
Sure.
and all of this. Now I've seen they've introduced a paper
Paper.
cup,
Yes,
but
yes.
the cover is still plastic.
Yeah, quite.
You understand? The cover
Yes,
is so we want
yes,
to eradicate plastic in totality. It
Yeah.
means you have to look at it in all angles. Yeah.
Right, right.
So this is something that we're also looking at.
Okay.
And I've also seen someone who is a coffee addict. He has a small cup made of bamboo. Exactly.
which
So he put
takes
it
it
in.
around with
He
him.
puts it in his bag. So if you want to buy
Fantastic.
coffee, he just go and buy
And they fill it.
Fill it.
Wow,
After that, he
nice.
put it in his bag. So
That's
this is
great.
what we call sustainable lifestyle.
Yeah, quite.
Well, I
Sustainable
believe there are a
lifestyle.
lot of
so-
options that people
Yeah.
can use. It's just
Yeah.
a matter of being innovative, to
Exactly.
create ways so that we can have options.
And making people aware of these options. yeah.
Exactly. At
Exactly,
some
yeah.
point, you tend to enjoy those options. You talk about the bamboo cup.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine using a bamboo cup to take your coffee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So very interesting. When I saw that, I was so amazed.
That is
And I thought
amazing.
this is something that we can really promote in the country.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Rather than, I mean, if you drink I mean, coffee 5 times a day. It
Yeah,
means
correct.
you litter 5 different,
5 cups.
cups in a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
for one
yeah.
person,
Yeah,
for
correct.
1 day.
Yeah.
If you multiply that for 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, that's
Yeah,
how
yeah.
much?
Yeah.
You multiply to the population, that's a huge amount.
a huge amount.
So that's why
To
now
one
we have
individual.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
So that's why if you look at our drains, public drains, these are the things that you really
lot
see
of
there.
them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 And it's a difficult one to tackle this thing, because even in Britain and even in America, where you have all the likes of Costa Coffee and Starbucks and so on, a lot
Yeah.
of them, they'll have a paper cup,
Exactly.
but the cover is plastic
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
Because when you're taking it out and you want to protect it from the elements, they give you a plastic cup. Cover rather, and so that's
Well,
so
it would have been easier
Yeah.
when we were respecting the rules of, not to litter the streets. Let's use the bins properly.
Yeah.
It would have been easier for us to be able to control these waste, but it's difficult.
It's
People
true.
throw them anywhere.
They throw them anywhere, and also because I was wondering whether that is part of the plan and the policy, because again, Balde knows this is an obsession of mine.
Yeah.
That yes, when you want to dispose of it, if we have recycling bins where it says this one is for paper, this one is for
segregate
plastic,
them.
you
Exactly,
segregate
yeah.
them straight away,
Yeah.
and that helps towards the recycling that
Yeah,
we're
so
talking about.
that's under strategy 5.
Okay,
That's
right.
the improved solid waste collection and management.
Right.
So now this strategy is not only looking at plastic, but waste management in general, how to manage waste,
Yeah.
so that you can properly extract
Yeah.
the plastic out of that.
Yeah.
And that comes with proper segregation, proper storage, proper transportation,
And
and then
proper
you can
education of the
exactly,
public,
yeah.
of course. Yeah. Yeah.
and you can extract the plastic for different
Yeah,
recycling
exactly.
options.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what is beautiful about the action plan, it has come up with very 2 new strategies, or let me say policy options,
Right.
and one of them we call is the DRS, Deposit Return Scheme.
Okay.
This used to happen way back in, not even long ago, like where you go and buy a Coca-Cola bottle.
Okay.
Okay, the shopkeeper will require you to leave a token amount of money there.
That's right. And when you
When you return
you
the
get that.
bottle, then they give you back the money.
Yeah,
That was a very effective way
We
of
used to have
making
that in
sure
the
they collect.
60s, yeah.
So that's a deposit return scheme.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think the same thing could happen also
Yeah.
with the bigger plastic bottles.
Sure.
Where people can return the bottles,
Mhm.
and then the shopkeepers can now
Sure.
collect them and send them back to a recycling
That's a
so
great.
that
That's a great one.
they don't have to be littering all over the streets. Yeah. So the other new policy option is what we call the EPR, Extended Producer Responsibility.
Okay.
Yeah, what does that mean is the producer, the person who produced the plastic bottle, still have the responsibility to take care of the plastic
Right.
when it is a waste.
Yeah, right. Right.
So they have to get it back,
Mhm.
or you pay a token amount of money through tax that government will now use to manage those, plastics. In
Well,
the
I
country.
think recycling would definitely help tackle this problem. Sometimes when you buy a tin of a cup of coffee, when you are taking it, you can see how many times that cup has been recycled.
Yeah.
Sometimes you will see
Yeah,
3,
written on
or you
it,
see
yeah.
1 or 2.
Right.
So recycling will also help. So thank you very much, Mr. Toure, for coming. We've already exhausted the time.
Okay.
But is there one final
yes,
message
that
in
you
30
want to
seconds
put
that
across,
you want to
yes.
get to the public?
Well, I mean,
Please.
first, just to mention, I cannot conclude without mentioning Common Seas. It's a UK-based,
That's
company
right. And they
who the
partnered
government of the
with-
Gambia partnered with in the development of this National Action Plan. And they use a tool called the Plastic Drawdown Tool. It's a very effective tool which is endorsed by the UN
Okay.
in terms of analyzing plastic problems and how to come up with different strategies to manage, the plastic waste in the Gambia.
Thank
So
you.
they've been a very good partner with us. We had an MOU with them, and we still continue to work with them in the implementation of this. And through this action plan also, we have developed what we call a National Plastic Drawdown Committee.
Okay.
So this committee is it comprises stakeholders from different government, non-government, the civil society, the youth groups, the manufacturing industry, who will be meeting regularly to see how we can design activities to implement the plan in both short term, medium term, and long term. Remember, it's a 10-year program,
Yeah,
so
we
there are a
will
lot of
be
things.
keeping
exactly.
an eye on that.
Exactly.
Because that's my
Yeah, so
particular- yeah.
so we'll keep you updated
Please do.
on those
Please
strategies.
do.
Particularly, we're going to start with the short-term measures.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you
so
very much,
Thank you.
Njaga Toure,
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
for coming on the program.
Yeah.
And we hope to engage you more in the future.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
Because this should be a corporate responsibility
Yeah.
for
And
each
it's an
every
important.
person.
It's important.
Very
Yeah.
significant.
Yeah.
So we all should put hands on deck to be able to eradicate plastic totally. Even maybe we are not going to do it altogether now, but gradually we will get there.
They're giving us 10 years.
Yeah, so viewers, we'll take a short break. After the break, then Q's Sports Wall with Momodou Gajaga.
Okay.
Okay.
As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, the Gambia's trusted network. QCell, the fastest growing network in the Gambia, now presents to you the eSIM. QCell's eSIM allows you to electronically scan a code and join the world of digital SIM cards. Customers with physical SIMs can easily switch to the eSIM as well. So rush now and get connected with an eSIM and start using the latest mobile technology with your trusted GSM operator. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Get a QCell SIM card for free. Yes, absolutely free. Walk into any of our customer care centers and get a SIM free of charge. With a QCell SIM card, you can get the fastest and the most reliable internet plus wide range of amazing services. So rush now to any of our care centers and get a free SIM now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Have you been looking for the perfect indoor router with long-range Wi-Fi coverage and faster internet speed connecting all your smart devices?
We are back. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Asuri Balde. Now let's move to the sports wall, and we have Momodou Gajaga here. Gaj, how are you doing? What's up? What's going on, brother?
Well, Balde, I am in anxiety, if you like. I'm agitated. Yeah, because you know what? Gambia is playing today against Madagascar.
Meaning you are sitting at the edge of the fence.
Fence, most definitely. Whether the fence is going to go this way or that way, I'm not sure about that.
No, we are going to stabilize the fence.
Absolutely. But back to serious business.
Yes.
So the Gambia national team, the Scorpions, played against Madagascar on Friday for the first leg of the AFCON 2025 Morocco qualifiers. The game ended 1-1. The Gambia had to dig deep. 7 minutes into added on time is when Yankuba Minteh scored. You know, the goal was scored just out of nothing. When you say that in football, it's like you don't even expect that it's going to be a goal, and then all of a sudden it became a goal. So after that, it appears the same old story. Gambia playing very well in the game, dominated possession, creating chances, but failed to capitalize on their chances. And when Madagascar had theirs, just 2 minutes added on time in the first half, they executed it very well, you know. So where we are now, and now the whole complexity of the group, that's Group A, has changed. But first, let's get the reaction of Jonathan McKinstry, the coach of the Gambia, immediately after the game.
At least a point. Look, when you get to that end, you always are wondering, is the goal going to come? You know, because we created so much, and we really threw everything. You know, by the end of the game, we were in a 3-2-5 formation, and we're really pushing. And yeah, Madagascar got a few breakaways, but we covered them. The goalkeeper, the defenders covered it all really well. And so we were never really in too much danger of going 2-0 behind. And yeah, so we feel relieved, I would say, to get the goal. I think it was a deserved equaliser, but definitely when it comes so late in the game, you can't say that you're not relieved about it. Overall, look, it's the same. The players, you know, we don't hide behind it. We've got to get better at set pieces. You know, we're on top of the game completely in the first half. We would like to use the ball a bit better. Our rotations need to be a little bit sharper, and, you know, ball movement against a low block needs to be a little bit better. But you know, we should be going in at least 0-0 at half-time. So to concede a goal from a long ball into the box where we don't clear our lines, and look, the number 14 for Madagascar scores a good goal. We can't deny that, but we shouldn't give them the opportunity. So it's another game where we concede from a set-piece situation and a different type of set-piece. So it's not like we're not working on it, but we need some more personal responsibility and quality in those moments. But look, it's an important goal from Yankuba at the end, and we move on to the next game. We've got to try and get 3 points on Monday, and if we do that, we'll be in a good position in the group.
Coach, in the end, there was a little bit of controversy. I mean, Madagascar thought they scored a clear goal, but I mean that was the clearest handball anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I think the nature is if you score a goal that isn't clean, celebrate loudly and hope it gets given. And we've seen that, but the referees were strong today. You know, it's very obvious, a handball. You can see it. Even the linesman and the fourth official on our side saw it and straight away told us it's not a goal. It's not a goal. So yeah, look, that was for us. We never believed we've got to put faith in the referees that they'll make the tough decisions. And you know, it was never a goal, and so it is what it is. You know, I'd like to watch back. I'm told from people up in the stands that in the first few minutes maybe we could have had a penalty. We felt from the dugout it was the foul on Yankuba. But look, overall, we played okay. I think it's probably the weakest of our performances since I've arrived, but that's not necessarily to say it was a bad performance. You know, I think we did a lot of good things. We created a lot of chances, but we've just got to find that little bit of magic in and around the penalty box.
Well, I mean, the last minute goal, would that serve as a booster going into the next game on Monday?
The last minute goal, the best way I can describe this is imagine you were maybe underwater for too long and you suddenly come up and you're able to breathe. You know, that's what it feels like. You know, you're struggling for breath. You know that if you don't get it, then the road to AFCON is very complicated if you don't get it. But getting the goal, look, this group was always going to be super competitive between ourselves, Comoros and Madagascar, you know, trying to follow up Tunisia. So yeah, we keep ourselves alive in it, but it doesn't get any easier. We've got to go and try and pick up 3 points on Monday in LGD.
Yeah, we are back. I mean, for me, he mentioned something very significant, and that's personal responsibility. Gajaga.
Yes, that's very important in football. There's in as much as it's a team sport.
It's a team game. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, some players maybe need to look at themselves, adjust their performance a little bit. Because Ade and I would agree that if you look at the body language of some of our players during games, you tend to question, yes, this one is playing for his country, and then, you know, it should be something very important, and then you give your best. We're not questioning their patriotism. Of course, if you leave your club and come to play for your country, you're patriotic enough. That's the reason why you came to play for your country. But sometimes I think that energy, that giving it all you can, and, you know, most of the time, players, when they're playing for their national team, they say, I am ready to die for my country. So sometimes you don't see that.
From what I'm understanding, it's like they give the best to their clubs than the national team. It sounds like it.
It's a claim that's been made many times, because a lot of them ringing in their ears is the fact that the clubs are the ones who pay them. And sometimes if you exert yourself too much and you get injured on international duty, the clubs are very, very upset about it. And a lot of them have that, they're conscious of that. But having said that, I mean, Gajaga mentioned that we had the majority of the possession. We had 67% of the possession. We could not convert. That was the point. That was the problem, really. And 27 shots. So it's not like we weren't trying to score. But sometimes they go in some, and that is what needs to be remedied. Plus, of course, dealing with set pieces. We've said it about free kicks, corners, and so on. We seem to be getting rubbish at dealing with those. That's something that needs to improve. And of course, just so that people are aware, the group has been kind of almost turned on its head.
Absolutely.
By the fact that Comoros went to Tunisia, who hadn't lost at home for 11 years, and beat Tunisia. I mean, nobody expected that. You know, so, you know, they've now really kind of made it difficult for us.
Why do you think the conversion became a problem?
Conversion rate?
Yes,
Catch.
Yes.
Over to you.
So for me, it's just, not being composed.
Yeah,
Either you are in a hurry, you
And
think that, okay, you're in
you
a good
blaze
position.
over.
Yeah, so most of the time that's the situation. But in goal scoring, yes, in as much as it's difficult, the best of strikers miss some of the easiest goal opportunities. But in this situation, it can keep on happening on and on, game after game, every time you, the same player, having an opportunity that you cannot convert.
I watched Austria against Norway yesterday. Haaland missed great opportunities to score, and they ended up getting thrashed 5-1.
5-1, yes.
And this is the guy who's very deadly in front of goal normally. Couldn't even get, I think he had one shot on target.
So this has changed the group situation. Like I said, it's Comoros who went to Tunisia, despite all odds, beat Tunisia by a goal to nil inside their backyard. And Tunisia have not lost at home for 11 years. So that has changed the whole complexity of the group. If you look at the group standings, it is Tunisia still on top after 3 matches on 6 points. Comoros 5, Gambia 2, and then Madagascar 2. And the Gambia will play against Madagascar today. It's a home game away from home, still the same stadium in the same Morocco. That's where this match is going to be played. 2 p.m. is the kickoff time. Just before we go, we need to talk about this young boy. That's Mohamed Sane. He's a young referee. You've watched him the last time in the Schools Football League, which was held in Rwanda, the other one in South Africa.
That's right.
He's been making waves, and he's just been selected to undergo a CAF referee's course in Egypt. And we look forward to seeing this teenage referee grow from strength to strength. Mohamed has been fantastic.
Yes, he really has. And you know, as we all say, you know, people don't tend to go into refereeing at that young age. They want to play the game. But he's gone and he's done very well, and now he's progressing.
Well, I love his composure. I mean, the way he composed himself.
Yeah, and his decision making. Sometimes there was an incident where he gave a red card, and then, you know, all the players came surrounding him, and he threatened to issue another red card again. And that kind of to tame the game down.
Well, you know, I mean, it's important for us to focus on other areas. I mean, not everybody that will become a footballer. I mean, if these people are playing, make sure you be there to direct the game.
Absolutely.
At some point.
Yeah.
So before we close, any other thing, guys?
Yes, anything less than victory for Gambia today. It's almost like our chances of qualification are almost but certainly over.
Let our dads go to the churches and the mosque. You pray for the team.
And I think just while we're on AFCON qualifications, I think it's worth mentioning that Nigeria have threatened to, in fact, they've said they're boycotting their game in Libya.
In Libya, yes.
Because they were left at the airport.
Now is 13 hours?
Yeah,
close to that.
Yeah, you know, for at the time, when I came into the studios, you said they'd been there for 12 hours, and it wasn't even close to where they were playing. And so they've said they're not going to play the match. They beat Libya in the previous game of the weekend, and now this is the return.
And the claim is, the Libyans said Nigeria treated it the same way. They were supposed to land in a particular city, and then all of a sudden the plane was diverted somewhere.
Don't you think that's a strategy sometimes?
Oh, of course.
But it only happens in Africa.
Quite. You know, you can't do that in
fair play just on the pitch. If you think you are better than your opponent, go on the pitch and do it there.
So viewers, the QCell phones are available. Go to any QCell customer care center across the country and buy them. We have the Q Smart Plus and the Q Smart, then the simple phone, that's the Q phone. The Q Smart Plus is costing $4,000 and the Q Smart is costing $3,400. And of course, we have the $600 simple phone as well. They are very good. The phones come with a lot of promotions, free gigabytes of data and free talk time, SMS. You can buy them from any QCell customer care center, or you come to our QCell head office here. We will sell them to you.
And I like the fact you're saying Dalasis, not Dalasi.
Dalasis. It's a lot of Dalasis.
Because it's plural. Thank you.
Yeah, so guys, thank you very much. Mr. Ade.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure as always to be here.
All right.
Thank you.
So we'll be back here tomorrow, inshallah, for another
with the African proverb.
With the African proverb. Bye-bye.